The desert sun was sinking, low behind the jagged ridges when Ethan Crowley wiped the sweat from his brow and spotted two exhausted Apache girls standing near his corral, their faces streaked with dust and fear, breaths shallow like each inhale scraped their lungs. And though he didn't know their names, he recognized desperation instantly because the desert never lied. If someone staggered through that heat with cracked lips and trembling legs, death walked close behind them. He moved slowly, hands raised, voice soft, asking, "You need water?" And the older girl nodded weakly, whispering that their horses had collapsed and their canteens had run dry. And though Ethan barely had enough water in his dried-up well to survive another week, he couldn't watch them die, so he brought them inside, poured his last reserve into tin cups, and let them drink until tears rolled down their cheeks. They told him their father was the chief of the Red Mesa and that he would know of Ethan's kindness. But Ethan only smiled and said kindness didn't need witnesses. Yet destiny had already taken hold of the moment, twisting it into something far bigger than he ever imagined. Dawn had barely touched the horizon when the ground began to thunder, not from storms but from hooves, hundreds of them as a wall of Apache riders swept toward his gate, spears raised, shields gleaming, dust swirling around them like a living storm, and at the front rode the chief himself with the two girls pointing urgently toward Ethan. Heart pounding, Ethan stepped forward with empty hands, calling out that he had only given them water. And when the chief dismounted, his face unreadable, he declared, "You gave them your last water." And when Ethan nodded, the chief raised his spear to the sky and slammed it into the earth, shouting that a man who gives life when he has little left is a man worth honoring. And in a moment so powerful it left Ethan breathless. The entire Apache warband lowered their spears in respect. The chief offered him a ceremonial horse and said, "Kindness has a price and a reward, and both will find you soon." A prophecy Ethan did not yet understand but would soon learn the weight of. For days after, Ethan lived with those words echoing in his mind, unable to shake the feeling that something unseen waited beyond the horizon. 3 sunsets later, a smaller group of Apache riders arrived, led again by the chief's daughters, bringing water to refill his well, food for weeks, and gifts that humbled him. But their expressions carried worry, and the girls warned him of outlaws who believed he was hiding gold or Apache secrets, a lie that now put him in grave danger. They begged him to come to the safety of their village, but Ethan refused, saying he had run from trouble enough in his life and would no longer hide. So they left reluctantly, promising to send scouts. That night was heavy with tension, every sound sharpening Ethan's senses, and at dawn, gunfire shattered the silence. As outlaws charged from the ridge, rifles blazing, their faces twisted with greed, Ethan fought back, ducking behind cover, firing with precision. But he knew he couldn't hold them alone, and as the bandits regrouped, ready to rush him, the hills shook with a new thunder. Apache riders storming down from the opposite ridge, led by the chief and his daughters, war cries slicing through the morning air as they flanked the bandits from both sides. The battle exploded in a storm of dust and fury, arrows flying, horses charging, outlaws falling or fleeing in fear. And within minutes it was over. The chief approached Ethan with a firm hand on his shoulder, saying, "You helped my daughters when you had nothing. Now we help you when danger seeks your life. This is honor." And Ethan, overwhelmed, could only bow his head as Apache warriors repaired his fence, secured his land, and showed him a loyalty he had never known. The chief's daughter smiled warmly, telling him he was no longer alone. And Ethan realized that the price of his kindness had been danger, but the reward was far greater. Trust, family, belonging, and a bond between two worlds, forged from nothing more than a cup of water, given to strangers in need. As the sun rose over the repaired homestead and the Apache rider stood guard at his side, Ethan felt something he had forgotten, purpose, and he knew this was only the beginning of a story that would change his life forever. And if you felt the power of this story, if it touched your heart or pulled you into this world of courage, honor, and unexpected brotherhood, then make sure you subscribe to the channel right now, because more powerful stories like this, full of emotion, adventure, sacrifice, and humanity, are coming your way, and you won't want to miss a single one.